Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Time and temperature check. What is in my hand? It's like a little seed or something that was on the table. Time and temperature check. When I came out here, it was 5:22 p.m. and I checked the weather right before I came out here and it was 83 degrees. It has been thunderstorming and raining all day today, but it stopped about an hour and a half ago, and it's very, very cloudy, but very hot and very muggy. I hear nobody at the pool. I don't think I've heard anybody at the pool at all today. And actually, I went to the pool last night with my neighbor, and we were walking back. I said, what are you doing tomorrow for the 4th of July? And she's like, I don't think I'm doing anything. She's like, I don't think I'm doing anything with my parents. And she's like, I think they're doing something with some friends. And she was like, but I don't know, I might be doing something with some friends and stuff. And she said, what are you guys going to do? And I said, we're not doing anything tomorrow. Alex just wants to relax all day long. And so we're just going to stay around here. He wants to catch up on all of his shows. I said, I might film a video or two. I'm not really sure. And I said, so if you want to go to the pool tomorrow night, let me know. If it's, I said, if it's nice tomorrow during the day, because everybody was saying it was supposed to be thunderstorming all day today. But then everybody was like, Tani was talking about going out on the boat today. And I said, well, it's supposed to thunderstorm. And she said, well, Indiana weather, it might change. My neighbor said the same thing. So I said to my neighbor, I said, if it's nice, I said, Alex said something about going up to the pool this weekend, like every day that it's nice. So we were going to go up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to the pool if it's nice. But I said, if it's nice tomorrow, we'll probably go up to the pool too. And she was like, okay. And she was like, well, maybe I'll go to the pool with you guys during the day, but I think tomorrow night I'm doing something with friends. So she just texted me and she was like, I've decided I'm just going to stay home. She's really worried because, she has her puppy and her puppy's like 6 months old at this point. And last night it was like crazy town with the fireworks. I mean, it was literally from probably, when we were at the pool, what time did we get to the pool last night? We got to the pool about 8:15. We stayed there till about 9:30. The whole time that we were at the pool, it was fireworks, fireworks, fireworks. And so I'm sure tonight's gonna be even crazier. And she had her dog in a room with the TV turned up because she was worried that she would be scared of the fireworks. And so she's like, I think I'm gonna stay home with her tonight. She was like, because last night she was worried about it. She was like, I said, well, if you want her to come over with us, we're gonna be home. And she and Boo get along real well. And I said, if you want us to watch her, if you're going to go do something with your friends. And she was like, oh, I really appreciate it, but it's her first 4th of July. And she's already freaking out about sounds and stuff like that. And so I think she just she was like, I decided just to stay home tonight instead. So anyway, so we're going to go to the pool here in just a little bit. We're going to try to go before it starts all the fireworks and stuff like that. We're going to try to go up here when I get done vlogging. She was like, how long do you need? And I said, well, I've got to do my vlog and I'm getting up these other videos. And I said, then after that, I'm ready to go. Alex is binge watching. He last night he was going to watch the last episode of Love Island, but he didn't end up watching that until today. Oh my God, here's a bunch of dogs. 3 dogs. Hey, how are you? Good, how are you? That's a crew of dogs you got right there. All those dogs were so cute. But Alex watched Love Island today. He's watching the Kardashians right now. He caught up on 5 Watch What Happens lives. What else was he watching? He was watching something else. And then I said, because I always feel bad, I'm like, are you bored? He was like, because I decided to film some videos today because I was like, if you're just going to watch shows and I'll film some videos. And he was like, I'm not bored at all. He was like, I never get to just sit here and just binge watch shows. He was like, I love it. So I was like, are you sure? And I said, he was like, yeah. And I said, well, I'm going to go to the pool maybe, later. And he was like, okay. And I said, if you want to go. And he's like, okay. He's like, just let me know when you're going to go. I might go. Alex doesn't love to just I love to get in the pool and just swim. And so does my neighbor and some of my other neighbors. My neighbor in the corner, she said, she and her husband were taking a walk last night. And she said, I said we were going to the pool last night. She goes, well, if you go to the pool tomorrow night, let me know. She was like, I might go tomorrow night. She was like, but tonight I'm not going to go. Nobody in my neighborhood except for my neighbors next door went to their daughter and son-in-law's cabin, but they said they would be home early. They might be home already. And then my neighbor, the griller and the gardener, that would be great for a cozy mystery, wouldn't it? They have 4 friends over. She was out here earlier shucking corn. She was like, I'm shucking corn, or whatever you call it. She was out here doing the corn. And so she was talking to me and telling me what they were having, if they were having a lot of fun and they were getting ready to have dinner and stuff like that. So it's been rather quiet in the neighborhood today. So yeah, I'm gonna go swimming later and then eat some dinner and watch some shows and stuff tonight. Alex and I are going to maybe watch a movie or something tonight. I thought I just heard my phone go off, but my phone's inside. I'm uploading videos inside. I've already picked the movie. I don't want to say too much, but I've already picked the movie that I'm going to announce tomorrow for Peter's Movie Club. And I know that Alex has never seen it before, and it's a movie that I think he would love. And I mentioned it to him a couple times that we should watch it. My husband hasn't seen like a lot of movies from when I was growing up. Like Stand By Me, he has never seen I'm like, how have you never? He's like, I've never seen Stand By Me. In fact, he has like a mix to this song, Stand By Me. I don't know who, it's done by some DJ, and it's like one of his favorite. He's like, I love this song. And I was like, you've never seen the movie and you love the song. I mean, the song came out long before the movie, obviously, but he's always wanted to watch that movie. So maybe we'll watch Stand By Me. But anyway, the movie that I've picked for Peter's Movie Club that I'm going to announce tomorrow, we might watch it either tonight or sometime this weekend, because it's a movie that I think he would love, and he's never seen it before. I haven't watched the movie for Peter's Movie Club for this last week because it's the Miss Firecracker contest with Holly Hunter, and I was going to watch it last night. But then I thought, you know what, I'm going to watch it on the 4th of July, and it'll be like more fun, and I'll sit out here. And so I've got my Crystal Light. It's actually pink lemonade. I thought I just had lemonade, but it's like pink lemonade Crystal Light. So I'm going to make a picture of that, and I'm going to have some, I asked Alex if he wanted to watch it. He's seen parts of it before when I've watched it, because I usually watch it like every year. He's like, no, I don't want to watch it, because I've got my own shows to watch. So I was going to watch it last night. So I went to the pool last night. Okay, what all did I do last night? So, when I got done vlogging, I started uploading it, then I got ready for the pool, and then I went to the pool, and with my neighbor, Alex was asleep. He was like out, asleep. And, she and I went to the pool, and we stayed up there, like I said, like for an hour and 15 minutes. It was so nice. We were the only ones up there. A lot of people were like walking by, and they were like talking to us as they like walked by on their walk and stuff like that. I had to kind of decide whether or not I wanted to go for a walk or I wanted to go for a swim last night. I had, like, this last week, starting today, I just filmed my weight loss journey update earlier. It's uploading right now. It's not great this week, but a lot of lessons learned. I'm just like, I'm at this point where I'm not going to beat myself up about it. It's just, it's not worth it to me. That's what I used to do in the past. I'd be like, I'd consciously make these choices to like eat bad or order food, or I say eat bad, but I was like thinking about that yesterday. I was like, well, you ate good. Like you loved the food that you ate, right? But it wasn't healthy for you. So I call it eating bad, which I don't know, maybe I need to change the terminology about that. But, you know, in the past, I'd like beat myself up about it. And it was like, I had such remorse over it. I'm not doing that anymore. I know the choices that I need to make. It's up to me if I make those choices or not, and I'm not going to beat myself up and be like, you know, like, oh my God, you're such a failure. I'm just not doing that. I've done that for years and years and years, and I wasn't any more successful beating myself up than I was not beating myself up. So, like, that's the truth. I didn't even really say it that way in my weight loss update, but that's just the truth. I mean, for years I beat myself up, and then I would go through periods where like I wouldn't, like I'd try not to beat myself up, you know, for like gaining weight or not making good choices. And either way, it didn't really seem to make me any more successful on a weight loss journey, or, you know, losing weight or being healthy or anything like that. And so what I know from that is that it's just not mentally healthy for me to beat myself up. It's better for me to look at it and say, okay, what lessons can I learn from this last week, right? Basically, the lesson is that I just didn't want to be healthy, and I wanted to make poor choices in this last week for my health, and so I did. So anyway, so I did that video. So anyway, last night, I came back, and I watched 2 episodes of Sister Wives, and then I laid down, and I took a nap. I feel like I talked to Tanya, too. I was asking her what she was doing today and stuff like that, and they were going to take Nick out on the boat. She had to work all, like, the first part of the day, and then they were going to go out in the boat, like, around 1, if it wasn't raining, because he really wanted to go out in the boat. And so, and then tonight, she was like, I don't think we're going to do anything. I said, you're not going to go look at fireworks or anything, like, look at fireworks. You're not going to go watch fireworks or anything. She's like, no, and there's usually, like, a park that she usually goes to. It's so funny because my mom and myself and my ex went with Tanya and her husband one time. We went downtown and we were at like the Ivy Tech, which is like a local college here. We were like on their grounds and like we had like a blanket set up and stuff. And we were like right next to Eric and Tanya. And I can remember when the fireworks were going off, like Tanya and Eric were kissing. And my mom was like such a kid. She was like, ooh, look at that. They're kissing. They're so romantic. And Tanya was laughing so hard and stuff like that. That was a good 4th of July. But anyway, other than Caroline, she's like the only person that I know that's actually like going somewhere to look at fireworks. You can see them from here and here. I'm not the downtown ones, but yeah, anyway, I don't really know anybody that's doing anything like that, like going to a park this year or anything like that. So everybody that I know is just kind of like relaxing and all this kind of stuff, you know? It was interesting because, and I really just want to make this commentary on it. I don't want anybody to take this personally about the comments, if you left the comments, because they were all from people that I know care about me and have watched my vlog for a long time. So it wasn't, I don't want you to take it personally, but I think it's interesting. I wanted to say this, like, for my birthday, when I said I didn't want to do anything, that I just wanted to kind of like sit at home and just do what I wanted to do, which was so interesting because I was talking to her because her birthday's coming up. We were at the pool last night. She's like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to stay at home, hang out with my dog, have my one friend come over. We're going to do like binge watch movies and order food and whatever. And I was like, that sounds like a perfect birthday. That's like kind of what I did for my birthday. But when I was saying that about my birthday, and I was talking about, like, you know, Alex wasn't sure if, like, I wanted to get some friends together or whatever, there were a couple people that were like, you should let Alex, like, get your friends together for your birthday. Like, you would really enjoy that. And I can remember when I read that, and I thought that's always interesting, like, in life, what people tell you, like, you should do this or you should do that because you would really enjoy it, right? What's interesting to me about that is that, like, I think we each know what we would really enjoy, and as much as I enjoy going out to dinner with my friends and stuff, like, I knew what I wanted to do for my birthday, and the only reason I'm commenting on it is that for much of my life, I would have people in my personal life that would say things to me like that. Like, it's your birthday, you should go out, and then I would feel like, oh, it is my birthday, I guess I should go out and do dinner with a bunch of people. And then I would get out to dinner with a bunch of people, and as much fun as I was having, I'd be like, I kind of wish that I had just done what I wanted to do today and just watch movies at home. And really, what I was doing things that I didn't really want to do out of, like, you know, pressure for other people. And it was interesting because when I said that we were going to go over to our friend's house and we decided not to, there were a couple people that commented, and I even got like a DM from somebody that was like, you really should go over to your friend's house with Alex, like, you guys would really enjoy that. I think it's interesting because I think what it says is that from the person that's saying that comment, that they would enjoy that, right? Like, you know, my husband, I can tell you right now, is having the best time of his life, and they're binge watching TV shows. He would not be having, I mean, he would enjoy going to our friend's house, but we can do that on a random Sunday, right? Like, today, this is what he wanted to do, this is what I wanted to do. And I think it's interesting when we, and I've been, you know, that person too, that I've said to friends of mine, oh, you should do this you should go on a trip. Like, I said that to Tanya a million times, like, for her birthday. I'm like, you should go somewhere for your birthday, whatever. And she's like, I don't want to do that for my birthday. Like, I want to do stuff with, you know, like, my husband and my son. And I'm like, okay, but, like, wouldn't you have more fun going on a trip? And she'll say to me, no, you would have more fun going on a trip for your birthday. But no, I just want to stay at home. Like, that's more relaxing for me, you know, to go over to the kennel for an hour or two and then spend the day with, you know, my husband and my son. And I think it's interesting when we tell people those kinds of things. That's why I said don't take it personal if I say this, but I just think it's interesting when we say that to somebody, like, you should do this because you would have so much fun. And really what I think it's saying is I would have so much fun if I was doing those things. So if you're somebody that's telling other people what they should do, you should be going and doing those things. And maybe you are, I don't know. But it's taken me like 52 years to get to the point where if I don't really want to go do anything, I don't go do something. Like, I do exactly what I want to do, you know? If I decide tomorrow, well, I won't be going tonight, or tomorrow because I don't do the weekends and whatever, but if I want to go to the casino, like, I'm going to go to the casino, you know? If I want to go out to dinner, like, Alex was asking me about, like, 2 dinners for next weekend, and, you know, he was, and I don't even say anymore. Like, I used to say, like, are you going to be upset if I don't go? His response would always be like, no, I don't. If you want to go, I would love to have you. If you don't want to go, I'm not going to be upset about it, right? And, but I would always feel like, oh, he wants me to go, and I'll go for him, and whatever. Now I go when I want to go somewhere, you know? I mean, there's things that I go to because I think that you're supposed to show up for: weddings, funerals, engagement parties, things like that, obviously, you know? I feel like it's going to start raining. I feel like I hear it. But it's taken me a really long time. And I will say this, like, I don't, when somebody leaves a comment like that, it doesn't like, I don't get upset about it or anything, but I just thought it was an interesting conversation to have, because for so much of my life, I did things. I think really like when the social anxiety really kicked in hard was when I stopped and I didn't do anything anymore. And that was like not a good part of my life, because, and I think that's where people they do say to me, like, you should go out and go do things because you would enjoy them, you know? Like the other night, like going with Tanya and whatever, like, and having the earlier in the day being with Tanya, like, or Caroline, that was good for me to get out of the house, but like I wouldn't want to do that every day. Like, I love being at home. I love being on my front porch. I love filming videos and, you know, having a cup of coffee and relaxing and binge watching shows and spending a couple hours in the evening with Alex and Boo. Like, that's what I enjoy. Like, that's what makes me happy. But I think, like, for so much of my life, like, it is raining. Whether it was my mom or whether it was Tanya or a friend or whatever, you know, people would say to me things like, people would say stuff like, you know, like, oh, you should go do this because you would have so much fun. And then I'd get in my head and I'd be like, well, I really want to stay home, but like maybe they're right. Like maybe I should go, you know? And I'm not talking about like, when I talk about the social anxiety and I missed out on a lot of things, like, when I talk about that, I'm talking about things I did want to go to, like the Halloween parties, like internally, I would feel like I want to go to this Halloween party. The social anxiety would keep me from going. I'm not talking about those kinds of things. I'm talking about things I didn't feel like I really wanted to go to or do. And I would go to out of feeling like, well, everybody says I'll have a good time, and then I would get there, and then I'd be like, you know. That's why today, if I go, like, I dictate how I'm going to do it. You know, like, I'll say to Alex, like, yeah, sure, I'll go out to dinner. I might go out afterwards. I might not. If not, I'm going to take an Uber home. And he'd be like, okay, you know. So, it's interesting to me, like, sharing that stuff online. Like, there are a few people out there that think that that's, like, so bizarre. When I, like, know so many people in my life that live their life exactly like that. You know, like, Tanya does things like she'll go to a meeting with me, and then like 2 or 3 nights a week she'll go out to dinner with friends and things like that, or go to a meeting, you know, or whatever. And like there are nights that Eric like goes out, like he goes out to dinner with his son one night a week and goes out to dinner with like, you know, 2 friends, goes out on the boat one day with some friends and whatever. Like nobody thinks that's strange, you know. Like Caroline goes on girls trips, Caroline goes out to dinner, you know, with her girlfriends, her husband stays at home and watches Sports Center, you know. He like might go golfing with a guy friend of his during the week, and Caroline's not part of that. Nobody thinks that's weird, you know? Like, my neighbor across the street, she goes to all of her gardening stuff with her friends and keeps a garden at her friend's house and goes over there and spends an entire day and comes home late, and her husband does his own thing with his friend. Nobody thinks that's weird, right? But as soon as I get on video and I start saying that my husband and I do things separately, everybody thinks that's weird. And I really, to be honest with you, like, I can't figure it out. Like, I almost, to be honest with you, like, after being in a 6.5-year relationship where we did everything together, we were so enmeshed. My ex and I, that was so unhealthy. That enmeshment was part of what led to us being apart. Now, I'm not saying that's not for everybody. Some people might like that. They might love it. When I was in it, I felt like that was what we were supposed to do. I loved it. Towards the end, it started feeling smothering. I think for both of us, not just for me, but for him as well. You know, and when I got in the relationship with Alex, like, that's how I thought a relationship was supposed to be, that we spend every moment together. You know, it's taken a lot of work to get to this point where, you know, like, I don't, back in the day, if Alex was like, I want to go out to dinner with 2 of my girlfriends, do you care? I'd be like, well, can I go? You know, like, it was always like, I wanted to be at everything. It was like, there are going to be dinners that he's going to want to go to alone with his girlfriends, and rightfully so, you know, and then I'm going to want to go to dinner with my friends and things like that. Rightfully so, you know, that he doesn't have to go to everything, and I don't either. I don't know why that's a weird concept for me to share. I don't know if it's because I'm gay. I don't know if it's because people sitting on the other side, like, of the camera, like, I think that's a pretty normal thing in a marriage, especially, I mean, my husband and I have been together for 16 years. It's not like we got together 2 years ago. We've been together 16 years. 16 years of doing everything together, every dinner, every moment of every day, every weekend. Like, that's a lot, right? I mean, we don't have kids, so that would mean, like, you know, I mean, I think even, like, with families that have kids, you do things like with, you know, one parent takes the kid here and the other parent takes the kid. I mean, we don't do that. So that means we would do everything together. I don't, in all honesty, I love my husband. I don't want to do everything with him. And he wouldn't want to do everything with me. And that's completely fine. And I feel like that's completely normal. Somebody asked the question when I was talking about the dinner thing. I think it was Kayla asked the question. She said, and it was a very innocent question, so I appreciate the question, but she said, because I kind of thought about it for a second, because she said, you know, you always talk about Alex going out to dinner with your girlfriends, but would you feel differently if it was guy friends, like gay guy friends? So neither Alex or I have, like, we don't have a lot of, like, close gay guy friends that live in Indianapolis. Most of our friends that are gay have moved away, and so they live other places. You know, really what you're asking me is a question of trust. I think it's interesting because I was, like, I thought the question was a great question. I thought it was an interesting question because if you related it to, like, and I think she did in the question, like, to a straight couple or something, it's like, would you, like, would you be comfortable with your wife, like, you'd be obviously comfortable probably with her going out to, like, dinner with girlfriends of hers, right? But would you be comfortable with her going out to dinner with guy friends of hers? You know, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, you're talking about attraction is what you're talking about, but you're also talking about trust, right? I mean, I trust my husband. He trusts me. So if he tomorrow was like, I mean, he has, like, you know, his friends will come into town and he'll be like, we're going to go out. Do you care? And I'm like, no. And he's like, you can come along if you want. I'm like, no, I don't really feel like going out to the gay bars and stuff. You know, and he'll go do that. Like, I trust my husband. So it's not about who he's with. I mean, if my husband said to me, oh, I met this new gay guy and I have a huge crush on him and I think he's really, really hot. I mean, like, that's a different story. That hasn't happened in 16 years. So I don't, like, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But, like, or if I said the same thing to him, I think if I said that to my husband, I mean, that's a whole different story, right? You know, I have, like my cousin Caroline, like, there's, like, a gay guy that's, like, part of their girl group that goes out and stuff, and, like, her husband could care less about that. I think that's, you know, you're talking about attraction is what you're talking about. And I think in that situation, I mean, I guess in a straight situation, like, would your husband be okay with you going out with your girlfriends if they were all lesbians? Like, I mean, I don't know, like, would that be an issue? Like, I think it's an interesting question. I really do. But I think it really boils down to trust, you know? And I trust my husband today. And when we first got together, I was, like, a very jealous, untrusting person, and based on my past relationships, here come the fireworks, based on my past relationships, and what I realized was that wasn't, like, a healthy way for me to live, you know, and I couldn't continue to live that way for me, right? I think the other thing, too, I mean, not even, I don't feel like I ever need to defend anything, but I think the other thing, too, is that, like, it's so interesting to me, like, every once in a while, like, somebody, like, commented on our video that we did, our couples video, and they commented, and they said something like, the way that Alex looks at Peter, like, you can tell he's so over him, or something like that. Peter, you deserve better. Like, you need to move on. We've been together 16 years, okay? We're in marriage counseling. We just had our session this week. And I've made this clear in so many videos, and I think it's so interesting when people just see glimpses of things, and I share so much about our marriage. My husband and myself are two people that if we didn't want to be in this marriage, there's nothing tying us here. We both are financially independent on our own. There's no reason for us to stay married. We don't have any kids. You know, like, if he didn't want to be here, he wouldn't be here. If I didn't want to be here, I wouldn't be here. So when people make those comments, it's interesting. I think it really says more about their insecurities in their own relationship than it does about anything to do with ours. The other thing that's so funny is that every time we do I mean, my husband stares so intently at the camera. I even said something to him before we started. I said people are going to comment on that. And so it's funny when people comment about that. But it's like, I mean, we've been together 16 years. I feel like the thing that's crazy is, and yes, we get so many comments that people are like, oh my God, you guys are such a great couple. And I mean, we're a couple. I don't know that we're such a great couple. You know, people have said to us, like, we're couple goals. Don't wish that on anybody. I mean, we've had to do a lot of hard work. I don't know if we're couple goals. I don't know what that looks like, you know, but it's been a lot of work to get where we're at. But the fact that, you know, we're coming up on 16 years of being together, like, for me, that is a huge success. Like, that is a great success. So when people want to reduce that and tear it down and question it and things like that, it's like, I feel like any couple out there, whether you're married or you just live together or you're gay or straight or whatever you are, okay, if you've made it to 16 years, like, that's a huge success. That's an accomplishment, right? And that's something that we should all be proud of. And I am very proud of my marriage, and my husband's very proud of our marriage. But, you know, I feel like it's interesting that things, and maybe it's just because I live my life online and show all this kind of stuff, but when I take it off online and I compare it to other couples in our life, that, I mean, I have friends of mine that, like, their spouses are, like, they work, and so they're home on the weekends, and they fly out on, like, Monday morning, and they don't fly back in until, like, Friday night, and then they're there Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. I mean, I know a couple couples like that, you know, or couples that work in Chicago, partners that work in Chicago, and they live in Indianapolis, and so they're up there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, part of Friday, they come back, you know, and I don't see people questioning them. I mean, they've been together for, like, 15 years, you know, nobody's being like, oh, do you have another family up there, or other side-eyeing you, and it's interesting to me, you know. I think that stuff, like, it's more the perception about it, that people that see it, it's always interesting to me, like, the motives behind it, right? Like, when people comment and they'll be like, oh my god, my husband and I are the same way, or this or that, right? Like, that's what I was talking about in my video yesterday, where I think it's important to do things with other couples. In my history of knowing, like, personally, of, like, in my personal life, when people have made comments like that, what I've known is that it's later turned out that those are people that are very unhappy in their own relationships or question their own relationships. So I can only think that the same thing applies to people that, like, see our relationship online, or, you know, and I'm a believer that, you know, it's like standing in a tunnel. You only see what I show you with a flashlight. Like, if, you know, if you're standing in a tunnel and I'm showing a flashlight, you're only seeing what I'm telling you or what I'm showing you, right? So anything that you're seeing is based on what I'm telling you. But I love my husband and he loves me. We don't by any means have the greatest relationship in the entire world. You know, we've gone through some periods of hell that I wouldn't wish on anybody. But we've made it to the other side, and I'm very proud of that. And I know a lot of couples like that have been through hell and back and shouldn't be together today and still are. And those are role models to me. I don't think any relationship, friendship, marriage, anything is easy by any means, you know, and I think that anything that's worth something is worth fighting for and worth working through. I never wanted to get online and be the couple where everybody was like, and we do get a lot of these comments, like, on pictures and stuff, people will say, like, couples goals and whatever. I mean, it's nice to hear, but, like, you haven't seen the last 16 years behind the scenes. You know, I mean, I've shared bits and pieces of it, but there's been some horrific moments, right? And, I mean, nothing abusive or anything like that, obviously, but there's been, like, some times where I think we both were, like, questioning what's the future of us, right? Like, it was hard, you know, it was really difficult. And so when people say, like, the positive, like the couples goals and stuff like that, as much as that's nice to hear, it's like, don't ever idolize somebody else's relationship. You know, the flip side of that is that the criticizing is, well, you're criticizing something maybe that you don't really understand, but the flip side of that is that you're glamorizing something that is just a normal relationship. You know, I'm very proud of our relationship because we've worked so hard to be where we're at today, but by no means do I think that our relationship was easy, or would I say to somebody else who's getting married, I wish for you to have the exact same marriage we've had. I mean, our marriage has been tough. It's been worth it, but it's been tough. And I think that when you see, and I never wanted to get online and say anything other than that, because back in the day when I would watch YouTube, I would watch these couples that were like, oh my god, we're so in love, we love each other so much, we never fight, we never argue, and, you know, whatever. It's like, you know, my husband said something in the last Q&A, I think, like, fighting's normal. It's, you know, but we don't fight the way that we did back then. I think that's the difference, you know? We still, like, argue and bicker over stupid little stuff, but, like, it's not the big stuff like it was back in the day. It doesn't go as deep as it did back then. But I never wanted to be that couple because I saw so many couples like that online, and then that made me believe in this fairy tale love, that I think that any marriage, any relationship should have glimpses of that. It should have moments of fairy tale, right? But, you know, an ex of mine one time said, do you believe in this fairy tale? But everybody gets up the next day, and it's not everybody walks up into the sunset. You get up the next day, you go to work, you're, you know, whatever. And I was, like, devastated that he said this to me. But it's true, you know? I think every marriage, every relationship, even every friendship, family relationship, is deserving of having fairy tale moments. Like, I think every relationship should have those fairy tale moments. But to think that you're going to live in fairy tale bliss for your entire relationship is just, it's exhausting and it's unrealistic. I never wanted to portray that online. I wanted people to know that any relationship that you're going to be in, you know, even Tanya and I, like, have had to work hard, you know? I mean, since the accident, you know, I don't drive anymore. That has, like, really changed our relationship, because I would drive over to Tanya's house. We would go, you know, check on the kennel, and we'd go get a fountain pop 3 or 4 nights a week. That's, the camera stopped. That's not the condition of our friendship anymore. I don't drive, you know? I could take an Uber over there, but I don't want to take an Uber over there, in all honesty, 4 nights a week so that she can drive to Meyer and drive whatever, you know? She's not going to drive over here to drive back over there to drive me back over here to drive back over there at 10 o'clock at night. That's just not realistic. So we've had to, like, make a point of, like, having more regular phone calls and talking more and keep, you know, each other involved in what's going on in each other's lives, and make a point of seeing each other and really make that time matter. Those are conversations we've had because we knew it wasn't just going to come naturally. I've had other friendships that just kind of over time just faded away. That was not going to, you know, I said to Tanya at one point, I think I've shared this on here, I said to her, I said, I have friendships in my life or acquaintances where I check in once a week or once every other week with them, and that's totally fine. I can't have you be the friend of mine where I only check in once a week. I said I would rather not be friends with you than just be and I don't know if this will make sense to somebody out there, but Tanya and I go deep, like real deep. I think I've already shared this on a vlog that I said this to her, but I said I would rather not be friends with you than be the friend that we are now reduced to just checking in once a week. And she was like, I 100% agree with you. Like, I can't be that with Tanya. Like, I have to, like, Tanya and I have gone deep for too long. And so, you know, we're in this period where we're trying to, like, figure out, like, how to see each other more often, how to do things together more often and things like that, and you know, talk on a more regular basis and for longer periods of time and include each other and all that kind of stuff. And it's hard, you know, it's working through stuff in relationships. No relationship that means anything in your life is going to be easy at all. And when you look back, the time and the energy that you spend in it, you know, and that was me and Tanya both coming to each other, and Tanya saying, I miss you. You know, like, I miss how we used to be, but I know that that's never going to be again. And me, you know, feeling somewhat guilty because it was because of me that our friendship wasn't like that anymore. And she'd say, no, it's not about that, Peter. Like, we're doing the best that we can with what we're given, you know? And it's like, I don't know. It's just, it's hard, you know? And, like, I think everything in my life changed, or has changed in the last couple years. You know, there was a period where I think Tanya and I both, like, we were having some very serious conversations about where do we go now for a friendship. You know, it was kind of like, I mean, not clinically, but I mean, we would get in a car and, you know, drive around and talk about everything that was going on in our lives. That was kind of therapy, you know? Now we do that on the phone, and we see each other, you know, once a week, if we can get together, sometimes twice a week, whatever, and we do the best that we can. I think any relationship is working that way. I've had to have that conversation, not just with Tanya, but with Caroline, you know, with everybody in my life. And, you know, even with Alex, like, I'm home so much more now, right? So when he gets home at the end of the day, like, back in the day, I wouldn't always be home when he got home. Sometimes I would, but not always, you know, or I'd be exhausted too. Now when I come home, it's like, I'm ready to be like, hey, I haven't seen somebody all day except for my neighbors, you know? So it's a different, you know, relationship. And so we had to have conversations about, like, hey, I need like an hour when I get home, because I've been around people all day long, you know, and I love you and I want to hang out with you, but, like, I need an hour just to unwind and things like that. I think it's like me not going in and explaining all the background stuff leads to people speculating, like, oh, like, Peter doesn't do this or whatever. Like, they don't see the 3 hours that we lay in bed and just tell each other about our day and, you know, plan things for the future and whatever, because I'm not recording that, you know, and I'm not saying, oh, we laid in bed. I might just say, oh, I hung out with Alex and Boo in bed, but that doesn't, you don't see the 3 hours of us laying in bed, right? I don't know. I just know that today any relationship in my life that's worth anything, from my relationship to my mom, to my relationship with my dad and my stepmom, to Caroline, to Tanya, to Alex, every relationship that I've had in my life, Tanya and I actually, our relationship has probably been the one that's come the easiest in my life, in all honesty, until the last couple years, you know, because it really changed the structure of our relationship. But every relationship that I've ever had in my life, like, took a lot of work, and ultimately looking back on it, I was like, damn, like, we worked hard for this relationship. Like, this means a lot, you know, and I'm proud of that. So anyway, I don't know about the question about, I don't know, I think it's a question of trust on, like, you know, I really, to be honest with you, I've, like, since I read the question, the comment, I was, like, asking myself, like, is there anybody that if Alex, like, said I want to go out to dinner with, like, you would have a problem? And I can't think of anybody. Now, early on, it wouldn't have been because I didn't trust him or that I was jealous. It would have felt like, because I was so used to coming out of a relationship where we were always side by side, everything we did with each other. So then when Alex would want to just, like, do something with his friends at first, I'd be like, well, what's wrong? You don't want me to be there? Don't do that in a relationship, okay? One of the most valuable things that my husband said to me when we first started dating was, you don't let me miss you. Let me miss you. Let me get excited to see you. That is so true in a relationship, you know? And so, I can't really think of anybody that I would really be jealous of or be worried about. I mean, I don't, for the last few years, I can't think of it. I mean, last 10 years, I can't think of anybody. I think also, like Tanya normalized this for me, right? Like, when we would get together, like, she'd be like, oh, my husband's driving me crazy. I came home, I cleaned the house, and in 5 minutes it was messy again, and whatever, like, you know, and then the next night she'd be like, oh my God, I love him so much. Like, he sent me flowers and got me a steak dinner tonight. You know, what I realized through her was that one of the things that we do with our friends is that we vent about our relationships, you know? And then what I realized was that that's what Alex does with his girlfriends too, and that's totally fine, because I would complain about him to Tanya, and then Tanya would be like, yeah, but you love him. I'd be like, of course I love him, you know? And so it normalized that process. So I wasn't upset if he was going to go to one of his girlfriends and be like, oh my God, Peter's driving me crazy today. You know, he'd get it off his chest, he'd come home, and he'd be a loving husband. I think that's normal, right? Somebody commented on my vlog, and I don't know if they meant this as a joke or if they meant this in a positive way, but it was when I was talking about the marriage, and they said, how did you become so well-adjusted about all of this? I think it's by going through all of the bullshit, right? And the marriage, and looking at, there was like this amount of stuff over here, okay? There was like 10% that was really serious stuff. And then there was 90% of small stuff that I was blowing up and that he was blowing up, and we were making a bigger issue out of than it really was. And what I realized was all that 90% of shit, even though I think it deserves to be talked about and dealt with, I was giving it so much more energy than it was worth. And I was really allowing it to affect me and us negatively, and he was doing the same thing, when it's really that 10% of stuff that we really needed to be paying attention to. That other 90% of stuff, that was frivolous, you know? I wasn't going to get upset about all that kind of stuff. You know, and I had to let some of that stuff go, and it's like, you know, here's a good example. Like, when people have commented on the past and been like, oh my God, like Alex goes out to dinner with his girlfriends. Well, I was going to the casino with Valerie. Nobody took issue with that. That, you know, like, my husband would go to sleep at night, and, like, I'd leave and go to the casino with Valerie. I mean, maybe every once 3 or 4 videos somebody would say something about, like, does Alex care that you go off in the middle? No, he didn't care. He knew I was with my friend Valerie. He trusted me. He trusted Valerie. He could care less. He was glad I was having a good time, you know? I think when you get to that point in a relationship, it's really healthy. Now, There are some things that for me are deal breakers. I don't ever want to not sleep in the same bed with my husband. I know some couples that works for. I'm glad it works for them. For me, I want to sleep in the same bed as my husband. You know, a couple years ago, we had different blankets. Alex was like, we need to get the same blanket. We need to be underneath the same blanket. That was probably like 10 years ago that we did that. I think it was a great choice, you know. There are a lot of things. I mean, major decisions. We always make major decisions together about things. If he wants to go out to dinner with his girlfriend, if I want to go to the casino with Valerie or go to a meeting with Tanya, I say, do you care if on Tuesday night I go to a meeting with Tanya? He's like, no, babe, I don't care. Do you care if I go out to dinner with my girlfriends on Wednesday? No, babe, I don't care. We run everything by each other, you know? We consider each other first. We prioritize each other first. But marriages aren't easy by any means. You know, I would say, coming up on 16 years, I would say it like, you know, 11 years ago, like around the 4 to 6 year mark, I would say like 80% of it was not good and 20% of it was like amazing. It was either that. It was either horrible or amazing. And I'd say today, it's like none of it is horrible. You know? I'd say some of it, 20%, maybe not even that, 10% is difficult. And the rest of it, I would say, like 20% is amazing. The other percentage, what is that, 60 or something like that, is pretty just peaceful and content. And that's what I want in a relationship. And that's what he wants, right? Is to have a partner that we walk through life together. I don't want a partner. In all honesty, I mean, people ask me all the time why I'm okay with him. I don't want a partner that I'm spending 24 hours a day with. I don't. I'm too independent for that, and so is he. And so it works out perfectly for us, you know? And what works for somebody else's marriage is not what's going to work perfectly for ours, you know? And being in a traditionally monogamous relationship, I think it's important. I think, like, one of the things I don't love, and I think I probably said it in the past, and then have heard it later from other people, like on TV shows, and I don't love it, is when people say, well, like, I allow my husband or wife, or I let my husband and wife. You do what? You let your husband and wife do something? You let them? Oh, so you own them. You control them. You allow them to do that. No. We're two independent people that choose to spend our lives with each other, and that's important. I think I used to feel differently about that. I don't feel that way today. And I think that's probably been one of the things that has really saved our marriage over the years, you know? But just because our marriage looks one way doesn't mean that it's going to work for everybody. I think everybody has to come up with what works for them. Maybe in another person's marriage, what works for them is that they're together all the time, you know? That they're like enmeshed and spend together all the time, you know? I say in here all the time that, like, I have a best friend. My husband's not my best friend. I know a lot of people that say, my spouse is my best friend. I think that's great for them. That's not the case with me, you know? Like, my husband, and I know people, and I know that people put different terminology around that, you know, and stuff like that, and how they mean that, and all that kind of stuff. I need to have a best friend, and then I also need to have a partner that I am in love with, that I lust after, that I desire, that I adore, that knows everything about me. I mean, my relationship with my husband is deeper than my relationship with my best friend. So I don't feel like that's anything negative by saying that, but I also need to have a best friend that I'm not romantically involved with that's outside of that. And so does he, you know? And, but I know people that are like, all the time, are like, oh no, my partner's my best friend. And that's how you define your relationship, you know? I think, like, going through, like, marriage equality and stuff, where people were like, let me define for you what your marriage should look like, really made me realize everybody has a right to define what their own marriage looks like, their own relationship, their friendships, and whatever, you know? Just because, you know, I mean, there are people out there that have full-on open relationships. I'm watching Sister Wives, polygamy. Hey, listen, do you, okay? That's not the choice that I would make for myself. I don't want to be in that situation. But if that works for you, and you're not hurting anybody, and it's consensual, more power to you. You know what I mean? That's not mine to judge what somebody else, how they choose to live their life, as long as nobody's hurt in the process. They're not hurting anybody, and they're consensual. You know, like, that's not what I want to live in, but anyway, how did I get on all this again today? But I do think it was an interesting question that Kayla asked. I think the other thing is, like, if I, like, having talked about all that kind of stuff, I think, like, if, okay, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm trying to think of like scenarios, but I'm not like really, like if my husband went on like, well, if it was any of his gay friends, like I know all of his friends and I consider them friends of mine too. So like if he was going somewhere and staying in a hotel room with them, like I would totally trust him. But if it was like if he was going on some work conference, and I mean this would never happen with his job and how he is today, but if he was going on some work conference and staying with some gay guy that I did not know and I never met in my life, I mean maybe I would feel, I think I probably would feel some kind of way about that. I hope I would feel some kind of way about that, right? But like that scenario is not going to really happen. I don't know. My husband and I are just so transparent with each other about the people in our lives and how we feel about the people in our lives and things like that. You know, I was also in a relationship where if we were watching a movie and I said, oh, I think Brad Pitt is really good looking, or if I think, you know, Matthew McConaughey is, I'd be like, oh, he's hot. My ex couldn't handle it. Like, he didn't want to hear that. He felt like that was a direct reflection of him. Like, if I said Matthew McConaughey is hot, he'd be like, well, what about me? You know, and it wasn't about that. You know, my husband and I, we don't play those games. And, you know, we might be out to dinner somewhere and, you know, somebody walk across the room and I'll be like, oh, he's a good looking guy. And just like I would be like, she's gorgeous. Same thing. And Alex would be like, yeah, he's good looking. You know, it's not like we're like both trying to like get in his pants or anything like that. It's the furthest thing from our mind, you know? I think like that, and not needing to do that all the time or whatever, right? But like feeling comfortable enough to do that, I mean, in ways is like not my best friend, but we're closer than that. Like we understand each other's language. I'm not gonna, I don't know, jealousy and lack of trust. And that's really about the person that has it, not the other person, you know? I don't know. I'm not willing to go there in my marriage today. My marriage is too important to me. And I've been there in past relationships and it didn't help. And what I realized was that was mostly about me, you know? So anyway, okay, so last night, went swimming, came home. Alex was still asleep. So I watched 2 episodes of Sister Wives while I was waiting for the vlog to finish. And then I put the vlog up. And then I laid down to take a nap. And like 20 minutes into my nap, he woke up. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm going downstairs to get a glass of water. And I was like, and then he like turned on the TV to watch the last episode of Love Island. And he like turned and he looked at me and we were like talking for a little bit. And I said, are you going to watch Love Island? And he like turned it off and he like goes, no, I'm going back to bed. I'm so tired. So he slept through the whole night last night, which is probably why he got up so early today. And was watching TV shows all day today. So then I took a nap. I had a fantastic nap. And I woke up today then I woke up last night and I watched like 3 episodes of Sister Wives. This is the weird thing about it, okay? Sister Wives is not the show like that I would typically binge. Like in all honesty, most of the episodes are rather boring. I'm at the point where they're like, they just got back from visiting his hometown. I feel like I'm like 2 or 3 episodes past that. I don't know, but like, they're really rather boring. It's not like tons happens, but I'm just kind of like so in it. It's like I want to keep on watching it. I don't know what it is. So I watched like 2 or maybe 2 episodes. Hope I hear the rain coming down. There's people walking and stuff, so it looks like it's raining for like 5 minutes, then it stops. But there were like, I watched like 2 episodes, and then I wanted to watch, well, I was going to watch the Miss Firecracker Contest, but I was like, I'm going to just watch it tonight. On 4th of July, sit out here with my lemonade and stuff like that. So, I wanted to watch that show that Tanya told me about, which is called Tik Tok Murders Gone Viral. It's like supposed to be like 3 or 4 episodes. I texted to Tanya, I was like, is this what it is? And she was like, I texted her the title, and she was like, yep. And so I looked it up last night. Well, on Hulu, or she said on Peacock, there's an hour and like 24-minute documentary called The Tik Tok Murders about one situation that happens. And I remember Tanya saying to me, I felt so bad, like, did you watch it about this husband that kills his wife? Like, it's so bizarre. And I was like, oh, is it like 3 episodes? She's like, no. And so she must have been talking about that one documentary. And when I said the title to her of something else, she got confused because there is a documentary that came out that's like 3 or 4 episodes. I cannot find anywhere to watch it. I don't know where it is, if it's out yet or whatever. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Maybe it's not even released yet. I have no idea. I can't find it anywhere. I saw that, like, it's on, like, the IMDb or whatever, but I couldn't see, like, where it's at or anything like that. Hey, how are you? Hey, you too. I couldn't see, like, where to watch it or anything, and I swore the other day I saw it, like, on Hulu or Peacock, so I don't know, so I didn't watch that. So then I was like, well, I don't want to go back. I was like, I'll just watch Sister Wives tonight, because Nikki last night, I was texting her about the show, so she was going to watch it too. And so, I was like, well, I want to watch something really true crimey or a documentary. And then I was like going through, like, I screenshot shows that I want to watch. So I was going through there and I came across Bratz, which is about the Brat Pack, which is Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, Demi Moore, Andrew McCarthy, Ali Sheedy, and Molly Ringwald, and Rob Lowe. And so, back in the day, when they were making all the movies, they termed them the Brat Pack. And so I was like, oh, I'll watch this. Like, enough people have recommended this to me. They know I love all those movies. Those are the movies I, like, grew up on. They, like, made me who I was, like, in high school and after and stuff like that. I loved all those movies. So we watched this documentary last night. I wouldn't say, like, I did a whole video about it on my Peter Watches TV video channel, Peter Watches TV channel, so I'm not going to get into it deep. All I will say is that it wasn't what I thought it was going to be at all. What I thought it was going to be like, Soleil Moonfry did this documentary, I don't even know that I ever finished it, a couple years ago, about, like, all the child stars from when she was, like, a teenager, and, like, Brian Austin Green, the 90210 guys, Shannon Doherty, all that kind of stuff. That was, like, a bunch of, like, she had recorded everything behind the scenes. I thought it was going to be like that. It wasn't about that at all. It was about how they were so pissed off that the term the Brat Pack came out by this article, and, like, how they all responded to it later. But I really wanted him he interviews, like, everybody, and I really... Did you hear that goose over there? I really wanted him to review, or to interview Molly Ringwald and Judd Nelson, and especially Molly Ringwald, because she's, like, my favorite out of all of it. Is that a goose or a car? And she's not in it. So, I mean, they show clips of her, but she's not interviewed in it. It was okay. I got done with it. I just was kind of like, okay. Like, I didn't feel like I knew anything that I didn't already know before. And then I went to bed because it was late. It was like 6 o'clock, and I was like, you need to go to bed. So I went to bed. I was actually going to sit outside for a little bit and read, and then I looked at the clock, and it was like 5:56. I was like, you need to go to bed or you're going to sleep all day tomorrow. And so I went to bed, and yeah, I got a good night's sleep last night. And then got up today, and then Alex was watching his shows, and I was just going to film my Peter Does Stuff video, my weight loss video, and this vlog, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do this. And so I went upstairs, and while he was watching Watch What Happens Live, he has AirPods in, so I was like, I'm going to film it in the bedroom. So I filmed the weight loss journey update, and then right after that, there was something that Demi Moore says in the Bratz movie that I really liked, and it reminded me of something that my sponsor says. So I did a Peterisms video about that, and then after that, I was like, I talked so much in my Peterisms video about that Bratz show. Maybe it had a deeper impact on me than I thought it did. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to watch this, or I'm going to make this. So I made that video. So I made the Peter Watches TV video too. And now I'm vlogging. So I ended up making 4 videos today when I thought I'd only make the vlog, probably. Well, I knew I was going to do I almost actually, when I woke up today, because sometimes when I take that medicine, that Doxepin, does anybody else take it? It's supposed to be in the same category as trazodone. Like, it doesn't help me fall asleep at all. But when I sleep deep. Like, and I wake up, and I wouldn't say I'm groggy. I never feel like hungover or anything from it. I just, like, it takes me a while to wake up at first. And so when I got up today, I was like, oh, maybe I'll just, I already knew I gained weight, and I was just, like, disappointed in myself. But then I was like, sat down, I was like, okay, like, let's look at, like, what you learned from all this, right? But at first I was just kind of like, well, maybe I'll just postpone this video till tomorrow and just take the day to relax with Alex and whatever. He's just in there watching shows. So I was like, I'm filming this. So, filmed those videos, and then got done with those videos, and I was like, well, maybe I'll do a drama video. I was like, no, just stop. Do your vlog. Just do your vlog, and then enjoy the rest of the day. So, I'm going to get off here now, and I'm going to go put up my vlog, and then text my neighbor about going swimming. We're going to go up to the pool earlier. I might take it depends on how many fireworks are going off around here. I don't want to necessarily walk on 4th of July with a bunch of fireworks going off. I might just save it till tomorrow. So yeah, go up to the pool and then figure out what I'm going to do for dinner tonight. Alex went to the grocery store earlier. He this is when he woke me up. He was like, I'm going to the grocery store to get a bunch of snacks. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, do you want anything? And I was like, be good, be good. I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need anything. He's like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. He brought home candy. He brought home popcorn. He brought home all kinds of stuff. He brought home glazed donuts. I was like, he was like, you can have any of those glazed donuts. I looked. It's like a pack of 6. There's like 4 gone. I was like, okay. So anyway, I don't have any snacks, which is a good thing. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna get off here now. I'm gonna start getting this vlog up. I'm gonna go to the pool with my neighbor and then just relax tonight and watch some shows. And if he wants to watch a movie, we'll watch a movie together. And just, you know, Boo Radley's been running around crazy dog all day long. He's upstairs taking a nap right now. So anyway, I'm gonna get off here. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful 4th. I hope you're having a magically amazing Thursday. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.